cuffs are off, man. Get right. Too many left in these leagues, but I ain't gonna leave. I'ma get right. Get right. Down to the bottom and scratch it for all the.
Hey everybody, Adam Rank here.
What's up, everybody? It's Marcus Grant.
This is AJ Dillon of the Green Bay Packers.
I got to give a shout out to y'all at Get Right Fantasy.
If you are not subscribed, what are you waiting for? You want to lose your league?
On a league, check out the Get Right Fantasy Network.
You got to get right with the Get Right Fantasy Network.
And best of luck with your podcast. Appreciate the support.
And you're tuned in to watch my boys at Get Right Fantasy Network. Get you right. Enjoy the show.
But I tune every Friday. Strategies provided, I will lock in every way. So go and roll your sleeves up. Yeah, go roll your sleeves up. And I'm getting down cause I roll my sleeves up. And I'm getting right cause I roll my sleeves up.
What up, world? Here we are back again. Wednesday night. We're doing here another buy, sell, trade show here with my boy Anthony. What's going on, Anthony? How you doing tonight?
Doing good, man. My favorite show of the week. I made a trade today, actually. We might get into it here a little bit. We got real teams making trades and the actual NFL going down. Like, it's about that time, guys. Got to get your lineups right for the second half of the fantasy season and in the playoffs. We got a good sample size of things now, man. So I'm excited. Like, this should be a fun show. Like, my list of people are huge tonight. So
we're just well into, just past halfway through the season. I do want to take time out to say what's up. Let's go Dodgers for winning the World Series.
boo.
I know these guys are like boo-hoo, waha, bah, humbug.
The
And
Giants.
he was just telling me about a story about that walk-off home run that they'd had. These guys are just trying to nonchalantly play it off. Don't worry, they're haters. I'm not a hater. Let's go Dodgers. Anyways, back
Congratulations,
to the show
championship's
here.
fun.
Yeah, and that those Yankee fan, that thing was crazy when those guys had his hand held up and yanking the ball out.
Oh yeah, I did see
classless.
that.
That's straight up classless, dude.
Yeah,
It's
you
one thing
can't
to
do
reach
that.
over and catch one. You can't just grab a player's arm, dude. That they should be banned for life and probably
Banned for
charged
life,
with
yeah.
assault, as far as I'm concerned. Banned for one game, and they get a refund. Like, that's how much.
Really?
Yeah, really. Banned for one
Forget
game,
about
and they
it.
got a refund for their tickets.
Forget about it.
Yeah. You know what they get? They get to sit at home knowing they're losers because the Dodgers are winners, and they beat you at home. So, too bad.
There
That's
it
what you
is. Now that we lost all of our football audience.
Yeah.
Just kidding.
So,
That's a
tonight
nice
we
shirt that you got on there, Frank.
Oh, yeah, hey. Thank you for noticing. This is what
Yeah.
we're a couple weeks
Forgot
ago
about
here.
those.
This is a Get Right Fantasy Network t-shirt. If you guys
We have
don't know
those.
what's up, check our website, getrightff.com. Anthony and I and Mike all have our rankings up there, weekly rankings up there, but we have a couple videos here and there. We're trying to get some more articles going, but mostly we have, just our videos and our rankings up there for right now. So go check it out. We also have a link to be able to buy swag from us. Obviously it helps support us. I have this t-shirt, but I mean, you could, just get about anything with our logo on there. All reasonably priced. Of course, we're making like $5 a piece on these things, so it's not like we're making a bunch of money. But
Just
it
have
does
one
help
to have,
support the
yeah.
channel. You know what I mean? So go check it out. Tonight we got a buy low, sell high roster management show. Thursday night football start. We got injury news and updates. We're going to go through myself and Anthony's top 3 targets. We're looking to buy and sell. And we're going to do some quick buy, sell, hold target takes, just kind of like quick, reads. And it's like, you want to hold them, sell them, what are you doing with this guy? And then, of course, we always do our live Q&A from the chat. So make sure you get in the chat, ask your questions, get your comments in there. We'll get to you guys. It just helps us build everything up as you guys are here. So drop your chats, questions in the chat, and we'll get them, starred or noted so we can get back to it once we get to the live Q&A part of it. Let's, without further ado, let's get started here with the injury news and updates. Or what are we? Oh, no, sorry, man. We're gonna do the show rundown real quick. What do we got
there
going
we
on
go.
here, Ant? Sorry.
Yeah, No, it's all good. So that's good stuff. I mean, I'm excited that you're excited to get this thing going. But just for those who are new, make sure you guys again hit that like and subscribe button for us if you're checking us out for the first time. We are live basically 7 days a week. Of course, we'll miss a show maybe here or there, but for the most part, we're here Mondays, Wednesdays. Frank and I doing your waiver wire ads and buy low, sell high like tonight. On Friday, we actually do 2 different live shows. One 9 p.m. Eastern to catch you East Coasters to get some live Q&A in there. And then we have our 8 p.m. Pacific show for us West Coasters and late night East Coasters for part 2 going start sit. On Fridays, we have our last minute active inactive lists on Sundays. And of course, we have our affiliate channels. We have our boy Tycoon on Tuesdays in the fantasy boardroom. And then we got our boy Phil Ruskin with the extra point here on Wednesdays and Thursdays, doing dynasty outlooks as well as, trade talk from a dynasty perspective. And then he's doing his prop bets and things like that. We have other analysts here, Kendall with the Fantasy Football Tavern. So make sure you guys go to the description and check out those links. Throw them a subscribe on their channels as well. But you will catch them here on Get Right Fantasy Network as well too. So support our affiliate channels, and we're putting in the research and trying to give you guys as many different perspectives as you can. And come join the community, man. We want you guys to be part of it.
No, that's good, man. That's good. We got all kinds of stuff going on for you guys every day. So make sure you check out the links in the description for the Get Right Fantasy Network affiliates. We will add timestamps and chapters to our content. So if you guys need to fast forward or get to a certain thing at some point, those will be available there later on. And of course, we got our super chats going on now. We finally were able to get that. So if you want your question read right away, or if you just want to make sure you spend extra time on your note, your comment, please drop us a super chat. It helps support the channel. We do got to buy extra mics and things like that for Anthony. It's all good. He's actually sounding really nice, dude. It was terrible for that stint. That was all bad. So we actually
Appreciate
do have
you guys sticking with us.
Yes, have costs they're involved. It's not just all show and go here. So yeah, check out, drop that in there for the super chats as I was mentioning. So it's time to roll the sleeves up. Let's get to work. It's time to get busy here. We're looking at the Thursday night football start sit. At this time, who do we got?
We have Thursday night football, man. Yeah, Texans coming in 6-2.
Honestly, I thought it was almost confused. I thought there was two games tonight.
No, not on Thursday. Oh. So, yeah. So we just have Thursday night football. Texans coming in favored by 2 at the Jets. Hopefully I got that right. Let me just double check. That makes me no, the Jets are favored by 2. I apologize. I was like, something was off about that. Let me fix it here. We'll reset it. Let me reset it. We'll edit this part out. Don't worry,
guys. The Jets are actually favored by 2. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, I mean they're at home, so normally you get 3. So if you want to think about it on a neutral site, maybe it's Texans favored by 1. But the official line is Jets favored by 2 with an over/under 42 points. So we have, start sitting this game. I only have a couple guys that I feel that are, pretty much, must starts. But let's start with the injuries here. We have Nico Collins, of course, still on the IR, dealing with that hamstring injury. We have Diggs. We got the news he's out for the season with that torn ACL, which we all kind of thought. So we did get that news yesterday. And then Damian Pierce still dealing with a groin issue, so he's out as well on the Houston side. And then on the Jet side, Allen Lazard still dealing with that chest injury, so he's going to be out. So it looks like it's just going to be, Devontae Adams and Garrett Wilson again this week. Of course, there's a couple other guys there, Xavier Gibson, Mike Williams, but neither one of them got any usage this last game, with now Adams' second game back. Or, since the trade, Gibson did have 1 target for 1 yard and a touchdown, though. So at least he made the most of that. But yeah, Mike Williams was the part of that all cardio team. 0 targets on I think 58 or 60% of the snaps that he was running routes on. Didn't earn a target, so he's definitely in the doghouse with Rodgers there. So I have my must starts in this game. Of course, Mixon. He's the fantasy leader, RB1 in fantasy points per game in full PPR right now. I believe at 22.4, if I recall. Then you have Tank Dell being the only pass catcher really that has kind of some rapport with Stroud there. I have him as a must start. I have, of course, Brees Hall as a must start. I do want to talk about Garrett Wilson and Devontae Adams a little bit here. I mean, I pretty much think they're going to be must starts for most people, unless you have, some certain situations. But for example, the hot waiver ad this week was Cedric Tillman from the Browns. Would you play either one of them over Wilson or Adams, or you feel pretty confident with these two guys just kind of filling themselves out, now with the addition with Adams there and Rodgers?
Man, Tillman's a hot hand, man. I'm not sure if I would go away from that. That's very hard. Who's Chicago playing again?
It's the Browns, and the Browns this week are against the Chargers in Cleveland. I know
That's right. It's the Browns. I'm thinking Chicago.
it might be hard to determine that now, but I kind of just wanted to throw that out there just as like a little comparison as to where, kind of these guys sit. They were drafted, second, third round, there versus guy who we pulled off the, heap of the waiver wire pile here. Adams hasn't looked that great in his 2 games back with Rodgers. They kind of feel like they're lacking chemistry a little bit there. I guess it's not like riding a bike. It's going to take still here a little bit longer. Garrett Wilson, I think of the two, if I had to start,
just both guys are just both old now. You know what I mean? Like they just don't have what they used to have. You know what I mean? Although they're reuniting, I'm sure they're going to have a spark here or there. I'm just not ever counting on that to be like, oh, they're just going to go back to what they used to be.
Yeah, I mean, to me, just Garrett Wilson looks like he does have that chemistry still with Rodgers. I mean, all off season, and stuff like that. They kind of came out a little rocky, but ever since week 5 against Minnesota, where he got those 23 targets, 13 catches for a 101 and a touchdown, he followed that up for 8 catches on 10 targets for 107 and a touchdown. Then the first game with Devontae Adams, it was against Pittsburgh. He only had 5 catches on 9 targets for only 61 yards, but then came right back here against New England, 5 catches on 8 targets for 113 yards. So he scored 29, 24, 13, and 16 full PPR points in the last 4 weeks. So I feel for sure comfortable starting Garrett Wilson here. And again, this is a trade show. He is someone I would be looking to buy.
I'm going to throw this one up right here, right off the bat, because it's related. Why wait? Would you trade MHJ for Garrett Wilson? I mean, there's all kinds of questions here right now about, the aforementioned Tillman that you were just mentioning on the Browns. I'm sorry about that against Chicago. I was thinking crazy, but just figuring out who was they playing against.
They're all the
but
same.
Yeah. Are we taking Marvin Harris Jr. here for Garrett
That's a
Wilson?
tough call, man, because those are guys that I both have as buys right now, Wilson and MHJ. There's someone I would be looking to buy, and he might be movable, at this point, as far as MHJ goes. But if I had to choose between one or the other, I'd honestly probably just stick with who I had, if that makes sense. So, I don't think I'm going to trade Wilson for MHJ. If anything, I would probably trade MHJ for Wilson. But at the same time, there is that, skepticism of rest of season. Will Adams eventually overtake it, or is it just going to be concentrated, between the two of these guys, pretty much, for the rest of the year? And it's just going to be a matter of, who scores the touchdown is who's going to kind of outproduce who that week. But you like to hear what they're saying. They're just like, we got to put up points. So, I mean, that's music to fantasy players' ears. So what do you think, MHJ or Wilson? Which way do you go on that?
Let's stick with MHJ, man.
You go MHJ.
I like Garrett Wilson, but it just seems like now that it's complicating things over there with Devontae Adams. I would have said Garrett Wilson if Devontae Adams wasn't there. Lazard would get his touchdown or 2 here and there, spots, whatever. But Garrett was getting the bulk, and now, Rogers is going to start looking for his old buddy. He's going to start trying to target it or push it towards his old buddy. You know what I mean? Knowing what they can do and what he's done in the past. So I just think it just takes some looks away from Wilson, and that's just not good. You know what I mean? Like, I'd rather have the number one guy that's not competing for targets than this guy that is competing for targets. But Derek is saying, Garrett Wilson does look good. Just worried about Rogers staying healthy.
Yeah. I mean, there is that, concern, but I mean, he looks pretty much recovered from that Achilles. I've seen him run around out of the pocket. He's taking hits. I think we're past that. We're at week 9 now. If I actually kind of wanted to go back and tally up who's all been hurt and see if it's the old guys versus the young guys, like anyone, 20, maybe 6 and older versus, 22 to 25, and see actually who has the most people hurt. Because I want to say it's more the younger guys that are the ones that are hurt more than the old guys. Like the guys we thought were going to get hurt, Connor, Mostert. Like Mostert, yeah, he missed a couple games. Yeah, Derrick Henry, like RB1, like, Aaron Jones, like all these guys are still healthy, Josh Jacobs, like, these are guys that are healthy. Like, yeah, Christian McCaffrey,
they learn how to take care
different.
of their bodies better. They know how to fall a little bit sometimes. You know what I mean? Like, you don't know.
I just think it's more recovery time is more the issue than whether they're at higher risk for injury or not. That's my whole thing. I just think once you get older, your body doesn't recover and heal as quickly, and you don't feel as 100% quicker versus, when you were younger. That's my only, that's my only thing. Like, other than that, anyone can get hurt.
The young player might go out there and say, "Oh, I feel a little better." When in reality, he's not better. He actually just, being young feels better. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I think that might be like the thing. But Jacob did say I'm going to stick with MSJ. Thanks, y'all. Go Dodgers. Let's go. Let's get some of that Dodger love all night long. Let's go. Yeah. I am taking, marking down some of the comments here and the questions. So keep them coming. We'll get to it at the live Q&A section. So, we're just we'll just get to them. Please keep dropping the questions in there. We'll get to it. I just happened to throw a couple in there because they were on subject, and I didn't want to wait too long to, discuss those items here.
If it has to do with what we're talking about, we'll definitely pop them up. But yeah, just your basic questions about your own team, we'll save those for the Q&A. So let's get through the rest of this game. We've already spent a lot of time here on this one, and only really covered those two guys. But I think it was a good conversation to have.
Yeah.
The rest of this I think could go a lot quicker. We start with the quarterbacks here. We kind of talked about Rodgers and Stroud. I have Stroud down, without Nico, without Diggs now, with only Tank Dell, having to work in Hutchinson and Mechie. Didn't look great last week. So there's a lot of guys, I'll be starting over Stroud here this week. He's definitely going to fall probably outside my top 12 this week. So I have him as a 1 QB leagues as a sit. I think you still have to start him, of course, in super flex leagues. You drafted him as a QB1. So unless you have like Baker and I don't know, somebody else that you picked up off the waiver wire, I mean, there is a lot of injuries right now. I mean, you're probably going to have to start Stroud in those 2 QB and super flex leagues. Probably same thing with Rodgers as well too. But do you think, with Dell being the only one there with Collins and Diggs out, do you think that helps Dalton Schultz at all? How do you feel about
literally Schultz was going to say 12? That it's got to push up Schultz for sure. Obviously these other, superstar wide receivers, he wasn't featured as much, but I think that now that, these guys are down and hurt, Diggs out for the season, Collins still not there. It just opens them up for opportunity. Obviously Hutchinson and Mechie would be difficult to, spot start. I mean, those are kind of, crazy, like maybe daily fantasy guys or something like that. I would not be comfortable putting them up even as a flex. Even as a flex, I wouldn't be happy because the Jets do have a very good defense. But I'd be happy with Schultz. I think that you would get some extra production out of him. So roll him out. I think it helps him in this situation, obviously, just for right now. But
the only thing that's interesting about Schultz is he, even with all the injuries and Diggs went out fairly late. It was like second, third quarter. It wasn't like super early. But Schultz only played 66% of the snaps against Indy. It was his lowest in week 8, was his lowest of the year. He's always been between 80, even 99% that he's played before. Doesn't look like he's dealing with any kind of, injury or anything like that at the moment. I mean, I still have him, probably like top 15. I don't know if he's going to creep into my top 12, just because, again, I mean, he went 4 on 6 targets for only 52 yards. I just don't know, is he truly going to be worked, into this offense? But, maybe after a week of prep, maybe they look to get back to Schultz because he did play well last year. But again,
I mean, that's literally his season best, though. The 4 or 6 targets for 52. That's a season best to show that, like, obviously with those guys out, it's going to be like.
Hey, he is 28 years old. Maybe he need to, play a little less and be a little more effective. Maybe getting out of there on some of the, true running plays or something. But yeah, who knows? But yeah, like you said, his highest fantasy output, 9.2 points all season. So other than that, man, I have the rest of the guys here as sits. Bobby Trees, I don't think he's going to do anything there. He'd be the other receiver besides Hutchinson and Mechie. You have Tyler Conklin, who did score last week, but he's kind of a sit unless you're, just in a pinch type situation. Braylon Allen also scored a touchdown last week, but I don't think you can start him, here this week. Xavier Gibson, again, he had the 1 catch on 1 target for a touchdown. I'm sitting him and definitely not starting Mike Williams at all. So I have him as a sit as well. So that should wrap up our Thursday night football start sit. And of course, we'll be back here on Friday to break down the rest of the games, including the Monday Night Football game on Friday here for you, taking your start sit questions. So let's get into the news and notes and get into it here. Yeah, that's why I was trying to delay it a little bit, but there we go.
There you go.
So there it is. All right. So let's get into our news topics and injury updates here for week 9. So just off the bat, of course, the big news that happened in between Monday's show and this show, we had former Panthers wide receiver Deontay Johnson traded to the Baltimore Ravens. Didn't see that coming. Interesting kind of landing spot for him. Goes to his previous division rival. Maybe a way to like stick it to the Steelers a little bit. It would be kind of interesting for him to go over there and play for them. But it's going to happen. We're going to see it. He did practice today. So just give me your quick 30-second take. How do you think this, helps or hurts, anybody else here from a fantasy perspective?
Well, honestly, I want to bring this up in my targets because I do have them.
So do I. And he's on the thumbnail.
Yeah, there you go. So, honestly, Zay Flowers is done. Rashad Bateman's out of there. You know what I mean? So you could go ahead and drop those guys. I mean, with the trade, let's see what he does, obviously, but I won't be getting too carried away with game one. But I think going forward, it's definitely going to be eaten into the Zay Flowers targets, and Rashad Bateman would just fade into whatever, and so would Isaiah Likely possibly or something. You know what I mean? So I know people are looking at him, spot starting him every once in a while here. And Mark Andrews has been coming back quite a bit, so let's see what happens. But, yeah, I think it just hurts Zay Flowers and Rashad Bateman a lot.
Yeah, so for me, I think Bateman, it's tough. I think the move, you hate to see those drops that Bateman had. He could have had a much bigger game last week, but, and I'm sure they were probably in talks when Zay Flowers got hurt the week before. And then maybe after the drops Bateman had and them understanding the window of opportunity they have right now with Henry, that they needed to, just get some help and some backup there.
Yeah.
To not, have a wasted season. And so, so that's just my quick thoughts. Again, we'll save more of that for when we talk, trade targets. But yeah, I think it really hurts Bateman. I think Flowers is still going to be fine. And I think it will maybe take away some from, I think Algalore is now fully pushed out of the window now. I think they'll move on from Algalore. And so I think just Deontay picks up those, maybe some of Isaiah Likely's targets and, gets that third tight end, whoever that guy was, off the field, hopefully too. Yeah. So they feel a little more comfortable playing 2 wide or even 11 personnel with the 3 wide. Yeah.
Yeah. Cause the other ones are running the least amount of 3 wides or something like that.
Exactly.
A lot more double tight end.
There it is. Yeah. All right. So that's Deontay Johnson. We'll talk more about him later in the show. Another news here around the league. We had Shane Steichen, Colts head coach, confirmed that Joe Flacco will be the starting quarterback going forward. So this isn't just a 1 week thing or, because maybe Richardson was banged up or anything like that. They're just saying he gives them, he feels that Flacco gives them the best chance to win right now. He says he's not giving up on Anthony. He's just going to use this time to grow. So, obviously we didn't like what they saw. So they're going to Flacco. And so I think this absolutely helps guys like Josh Downs, more importantly, might even bring some relevance back to Michael Pittman.
Another guys that I have on the bye here.
And we might have a little resurrection of AD Mitchell, who's probably been long dropped. One of my guys that I was, coming in the year with. And then Alec Pierce, once he gets going here again too, he might be kind of one of those spot starts, flex-worthy
all
type
the wide
guy.
Receivers. I
For
might as
sure.
well just go over the numbers that I had for that.
And helps out Jonathan Taylor too, because he's not going to be running, getting any rushing touchdowns in the red zone.
Anthony
unless it's like
Richardson
a quarterback sneak, but
31.3% completion percentage. That was the second lowest by any player in a single game with 30-plus pass attempts over the last 10 seasons. So, you can't win that with that kind of stats. That's why Flacco is going to be such a help to Michael Pittman, Josh Downs, Alec Pierce, basically all the wide receiving core over there. They get a boost up here with the Flacco at the helm. Let's see how long he can hold out though. But he did. Finish off last year pretty well, right?
Flacco got me the championship, man. Flacco and Baker at the end of last year. I had Herbert and whoever else go down, and they got me home, man. So that's the Flacco news. We have Kevin Stefanski, the Browns coach. Another quarterback news saying Jameis Winston will be the starter for the rest of the season as well, so we don't have to worry about Dorian Thompson-Robinson. Looks like he's going to be the guy moving forward, but did say it is, the league is day to day, so he has a leash. If he does go out and start throwing, 4 picks a game or 3 picks a game, I'm sure they'll try to rein him in a little bit and get DTR on the field, but we'll see how that goes. I think, again, this is good for Tillman. This is good for Eli Moore, good for Jerry Jeudy, really good for David Njoku, because we saw what he did last year. And again, with no Cooper there, that should just be good again for that offense. Even if he throws a couple picks, that means that's just more he's going to have to throw to catch up, right? Like Winston's the greatest fantasy. He's like, what's great for fantasy all around. Exactly. We have Raiders head coach Antonio Pierce saying it's official. Running back Alexander Madison will remain the starter. So no more Zamir White, not waiting for him to be healthy or, potentially taking his role back. Madison will be the starter moving forward. In other news around the league, we had the Detroit wide receiver Jamison Williams, who's already serving a 2-game suspension for PESs. He was pulled over apparently, I think with his brother or something, he's facing charges for concealed weapon. I thought we had the right to bear arms, but maybe it wasn't. And especially in Detroit, man, you should be able to carry. If you're an NFL player, you should be able to carry. I don't understand what the problem is there, but that's neither here nor there. It's not a political channel.
Legally. Just go carry it legally.
Just make sure. Yeah, it's not like
you got the money. Don't be
and you have the reason. Yeah, like most time when you need a concealed carry, like it's because you have to have a a like you're a millionaire, bro. Like
exactly.
All you have to do is refer to Ricky Pearsall, who just got shot over a watch.
Yeah,
and just get your CC and PW and be good. Anyway, either way, it's being investigated. So the Lions did report it to the league immediately. Make sure they didn't get fined or look like they're trying to hide anything there. So again, we'll talk about it when we get into buy low or sell high. Jameson Williams is on that list. We'll see which side he's on for me. We had the Vikings. Usually we don't report this kind of stuff, but I think this is very important for probably one of the top fantasy offenses, right now. Vikings went out, made a trade to replace their star left tackle, Christian Darrisaw, who tore his ACL and MCL on that, one of the just into the plays of the half last week. He was ranked 10th among tackles, so it was a big time loss for them. I was really worried about, how this is going to affect them moving forward, but they didn't wait around. They ended up trading for Cam Robinson, who came from the Jaguars. He was dealing kind of with the concussion, came back, and they opted to go with their rookie over there, kind of out of playoff contention, things like that. They're maybe just looking to get the new guys
They're already
worked
getting
in.
another pick for next year, man. They're
Right.
They're ready.
And they're trying to build up assets. So they were able to move him when he got his first DNP non-start since he's been in the league. So he's not, of course, as good as Darisaw, but at 6'6", 335, he's a big guy, and obviously more experience than the guy that came in and completely changed that whole Vikings Rams game last Thursday. So it feels like we haven't seen the Vikings in forever and from them playing on that Thursday night game. But we'll see how this goes. But yeah, my Justin Jefferson shares are like, whew, and might be a little better for Jordan Addison as well too. So we'll see what happens there. All right. So those were kind of the main things. I'll run through just kind of some of the stuff. Just remember here, it is Wednesday. So a lot of this stuff is just more kind of fluff, but just, some names that on our rosters, if you see those questionable tags or DNPs, a lot of times not too much to worry about, but just something to kind of keep your eye on. So Frank, you want to run through the quarterbacks there and I'll pick up on the running backs?
Sure. So let's check it out here. So we got Saints quarterback Derek Carr. Was a little bit of a pitch count on Wednesday's practice, but it's still expected to start Sunday. So that'd be good for the Saints there. Ravens quarterback Lamar Jackson, back knee, did not practice. Harbaugh says it's just a rest day, which is more than likely true for a veteran and as much work as Lamar Jackson has been putting in. The Packers quarterback Jordan Love, groin, did not practice, but they did say he's kind of getting a little bit better, so he's trending in the right direction. Well, let's see what happens on Friday, right?
Out. Yeah.
Patrick's quarterback Drake May, concussion protocol limited, so that's just kind of going through the motions on that. If nothing comes, he doesn't practice this week, he's not playing, so we already know that's happening. Quarterbacks, Commanders quarterback Jaden Daniels, rib limited also. So Lions quarterback Jared Goff, ankle, also did not practice. He's sore but fine. Let's see how he comes out. Ravens running back Keaton Mitchell, knee, practice full, so he should be getting back into the healthy status here. We got Doug Peterson says he feels good. That Travis Etienne Jr. hamstring will be back this week. Both he and Tex basically were ankle and are limited. So, I think that Etienne is trending in the right direction. But both Tank and Travis Etienne have been eating in that offense. It's probably the only thing that's happening over there. Commanders running back Brian Robinson, hamstring, also limited, so you got to keep an eye on that guy. Got a couple shares of him.
He's been playing. It's just more kind of precaution, I think.
Precaution, because he just came back from something recently. Anyways, they just want to make sure he just doesn't re-aggravate a bunch of stuff going on here. Giants running back Tyrone Tracy, who blew it up here recently, but got a concussion. So he did not practice. So that's not a good sign
on a Monday. It was a Monday game.
It's a short week.
Probably not playing.
Yeah, it's a short week for him to kind of come back from that. So, they're being erring on the side of caution nowadays with those. So he's not like just throw back in there.
Right.
Packers running back Josh Jacobs, ankle, also did not practice. Seen limping at the end of the game. Says he's fine. Rolled his ankle, but he will play Sunday. So let's keep an eye on that as well, because I do got a few shares of Josh Jacobs. I know a lot of people do. He's been doing pretty well over there with the Packers. Titans running back Tajay Spears, hamstring, should be ready to go this week. That's good news for him. Canales said he hasn't made a decision, but on if Panthers running back Jonathan Brooks will play this week. Practice in full. I did read something about Jonathan Brooks, and I'm going to mention that a little later. So go hold on him.
Teaser.
Yeah. Seahawks wide receiver DK Metcalf, MCL sprain. Also did not practice. Plans to practice tomorrow. So let's see how that goes out for DK, so he can get back on the field. But yeah, you don't want to have MCL, NCL sprains. That's all bad. We got Bengals wide receiver T. Higgins, quad, also did not practice, considered day to day. Jaguars wide receiver Brian Thomas Jr. Also chest, along with wide receiver Gabe Davis, shoulder, both limited. Excuse me. So let's keep an eye on these guys.
Fairly good to see.
BTJ has been balling out, so you definitely want to keep an eye on that. Colts wide receiver Josh Downs and Michael Pittman Jr. is back. Did not practice, but as we say, they have high upside this week with Joe Flacco coming in as quarterback. So let's keep an eye on those guys. I'm looking to start them. The Bills wide receiver Amari Cooper, wrist limited, so he should be okay on that one. Then we got the first full practice with Vikings tight end TJ Hawkinson. So he's expected to make the 2024 debut on Sunday night. So let's see how that goes over there. That's exciting for news for the Vikings. Get some good tight end work. And then Eagles tight end Dallas Goedert hamstring did not practice. I don't think he's playing. He's not. From the news that I've read, nothing's really trending in the right direction on that one. So yeah, that's the quick rundown on some of those guys. Actually, I forgot to hand it over to you, right? My bad. Just kind of went through all of them.
Yeah, no, hey, I was glad, man. My voice was thanking you. I saw you grab a drink there in the middle of that too. It gets gets a little tough sometimes here. But yeah, no, good stuff. Way to run through it there. You're on a good flow. I didn't want to interrupt you, and definitely don't need to hear myself talk anymore. So we're good with that. Again, make sure you guys drop your questions or comments in the chat.
Keep dropping them.
We will be getting to that. Absolutely. We're getting them started. We will go over them. So hang tight with us. We're going to go through our top 3 buys, our top 3 sells. We'll hit some quick buy, sell, hold. And then we will get to those questions. So make sure you throw them in there. And we will try to get to that here as soon as possible. Before we do, though, of course, we got to tell you about our boys over at underdogfantasy.com. They are there you go. They are the best and easiest place to play fantasy sports. We enjoyed their best ball draft tournaments. We live stream them during the off season, like the Best Ball Mania 5, as well as their puppies and poodles and all the other different big tournaments that they have. I love getting in those. But now that we're in season, I love doing the pick'em contest. You just pick higher or lower on total yards, touchdowns. They even have defensive ones, sacks, potential interception, this or that. So it's a lot of fun. Make sure you guys go check those out. Again, their best ball is real easy. You just draft a team and set it and forget it. There is no waivers. There's no trades, no setting your lineup. So it's not going to replace your managed leagues, but it does really help prepare you for your real drafts for those managed leagues. There in the off season. So make sure you guys go sign up now. Use that promo code Get Right, because when you do, you're going to get that 50% deposit match and get up to $1,000 in bonus cash. Again, use promo code Get Right to get up to $1,000 in bonus cash. In addition to that, you'll also get their special pick'em, which this week up to Thursday is going to be the CJ Stroud higher or lower than half a total yard. So basically, it's a free pick to get you started. On top of that deposit match, just get in there, come check it out, and again, use that promo code Get Right. All right. So let's get to our top 3 trade targets of the week. So let's start with our buy lows. Frank, what are your top 3 players to buy low here on week 9?
So I'm looking at Chuba Hubbard here, the Carolina Panthers. He's been the top 12 fantasy running back this season. When they asked if Brooks is possibly coming back, this is the teaser that I had earlier.
Hey.
And it says that basically, if he doesn't, get back to the team this week, he won't be able to play this year. So the head coach said it could be Brooks was limited in practice all last week and practiced fully this week. But I mean, they are considering the 1-7 record. And realistically, possibly the Panthers don't really have a shot at it. So why bring him back to possibly injure him or rush him back per se? They might just leave him out altogether. So I think we're going to be buying on Chuba Hubbard right now because of that. Because he's been holding it down. They're running really well. We're just concerned that you have Brooks come in here, start taking some touches and things like that. But I think that they might just play it safe and save Brooks for next year.
That's a great call, man. I like that call. And the upcoming schedule is great. He gets New Orleans next. If Brooks doesn't come back, then he gets the Giants. They have a week 11 bye, which is nice because he'll be there for the week 12 and 14 by NATOs. So you'll have him through then. He does get Kansas City week 12, which will be tough, but hey, hopefully you're okay in that spot. And then his playoff schedule isn't bad really at all either. He gets Dallas, Arizona, and then Tampa Bay. So I like that call, Frank. Trade for Chuba Hubbard and play on that other side of the dice that Brooks isn't going to play. Like you said, 1-7, man, that's a great call. I didn't even think about that. Good stuff.
they got opportunities here. So also another guy we're looking at is wide receiver DJ Moore, Chicago Bears. Ideally offense gets back on track. They did have a down game here last week, but the Bears have the best schedule for wide receivers over the rest of the season. The Detroit Lions, Minnesota Vikings have both allowed over 40 fantasy points per game to wide receivers, and Bears play them team twice, including the matchup early during the fantasy playoffs. So, if they got any opportunity to get that ball aired out with Caleb Williams over there, that was the time. And I'm not shying away from DJ Moore.
Another nice one. I like it. It. Chuba, DJ Moore, who's number 3?
And lastly, my guy, Dak Prescott. I know it's been ugly lately, but luckily the Cowboys faced one of the top 12 teams at allowing fantasy points for quarterbacks in their 6 of their next 9 games, making Prescott a potential fantasy starter for more often than not. So he's had the numbers in the past, and it's not unlike him to get warmed up and heated up here. Things have just not been rolling right for the Cowboys. But honestly, you see the Niner game; it was ugly, but they started coming back at the end. Had 2 wide open touchdowns to CD. I don't know how that all happened because they were just like really got awful wide open. They had an opportunity. They got 4 and out right there at the end, but they did stand a shot. So considering that the next matchups are favorable, let's call it that way. That's what you want to see. You want to give them an opportunity to get these guys started that way. So
I'd say more than favorable is his matchup, and we all know how much he caught fire, him and CD at the end of last year.
Yeah,
I think you could almost group CD into this as well. He did still have a good game there at the end, like you said, against the Niners. So
2 touchdowns.
You're probably not buying. Yeah, you're probably not able to get him, so to speak, as far as at least buying low. If anything, you'd buy high. But I'll read it off for you. You got at Atlanta, home against Philly. Houston might be the only kind of tough, quote unquote, matchup that he sees. They get at Washington, should be a shootout. Home against the Giants, which you'll destroy them. Should be a shootout. Home against Cincinnati in week 14, which is nice. You get Carolina week 15.
Defense.
Yeah, and then Tampa Bay shootout with Baker, and then at Philly shootout with division rival and with the Hurts and the fellas over there.
Yeah.
Gonna have to put up points.
All favorable matchups, all good matchups. Nobody's got like a tough defense.
Only nitpicking I have on that is why couldn't the schedule makers do a little better? Like, why couldn't it have been at Dallas, in Tampa, at Dallas against Philly? Like, you know what I mean? Like, that would have been so much better as far as weather is concerned. Maybe Carolina, usually it doesn't snow in Carolina, but at Philly might be tough week 17. You never know. Might be one of those whiteout games.
Right.
That late in the season. But other than that, man, good call.
Let me recap my guys here real quick.
Do it.
Running back Chuba Hubbard with Carolina Panthers. Again, betting on Brooks not coming playing this year. Wide receiver DJ Moore with Chicago Bears. Favorable schedule coming up for wide receivers the rest of the season. And Dak Prescott, again, another guy with favorable schedule for the rest of the season here. And again, looking hot. He did finish strong in the game. Better days to come here, I think. I don't think that he's washed out or anybody's washed out. It's just, fortunate circumstances with the defense having so many injuries and so many people down over there at Dallas. You can only do so much at some point,
For sure.
I know it's next man up, but it's not, sometimes it's just, you can't just overcome too many injuries.
For sure. All right, man. So we'll get on to my top 3 players here to buy low.
What's up, Yee? What's up, Jeezy?
What's up, Jeezy? How's it going? It's good. Yeah, keep an eye on the chat. Top 3 players that I'm looking to buy low here. Number 1 is going to be the guy featured on the thumbnail here. New trade addition to the team, Mr. Amari Cooper. So we obviously saw Cooper come out week 1, where of course I sat him, wanted to see kind of how he was worked into the offense. Only played, I think 18 offensive snaps, but in those 18 snaps, he was able to score a touchdown. Not only score a touchdown, he was able to garner 5 targets on those 18 snaps, get 4 catches for 66 yards as well. Comes back out, increases that 35% snap share up to 50%, but only saw 2 targets against Seattle. Only had 1 catch for 3 yards. So big time dud there as well. They did say he picked up some type of wrist injury, which we kind of mentioned at the top of the show as well too. So maybe that had something to do with it. You know, we know the Bills kind of got off to a good start. Didn't maybe necessarily need him. But you know, we've also seen Keon Coleman start emerging here. You know, maybe not seeing that top coverage is helping him out, you know, a little bit as well too. And so maybe, you know, just Josh Allen knows how to read coverages and just goes to the easier, higher percentage, you know, throw. So again, you never know how that's all going to work out. I'm still sure they're working out chemistry and play packages and, you know, things like that. So again, I think there is better days to come. I mean, I don't think Amari Cooper's just lost the ability to play football. I think he's still good. And obviously he's attached to Josh Allen. So if anyone's worried about that 1 catch for 3 yards on Amari Cooper, I would go make an offer and see if you can get yourself a nice wide receiver 2 that has, you know, weekly wide receiver 1 upside. You know, the only thing is he is part of that week 12 by
just Junior Meadows says that we are getting to get to the chat. We do the live Q&A at the end. So we do read chats when it's, you know, a part of what we're talking about in the show. So hang tight with us. We'll get you your live Q&A here. So yeah, I got everybody started up. We're going to answer all the questions once we get to that.
And if you want us to get to it right away, man, throw us a super chat. Doesn't have to be a lot. Throw us a super chat and we will stop the show and get to your chat right away. Otherwise, we have it set for the live Q&A segment here once we get through our buys. So that's my number 1 guy here, Amari Cooper. Another guy I'm looking to buy low on here is going to be J.K. Dobbins. Give you a little bit different position here. Looks like, you know, the industry is kind of quieted a little bit here on Dobbins. Obviously Gus, you know, he's out. You know, he had New Orleans last week, found the end zone, had 16.8 points, 17 carries, 57 yards, not the greatest YPC, has had some, you know, tough matchups here. But, you know, has, you know, pretty decent playoff schedule against Tampa, does get Denver, but then at New England week 17, 15 and 16 are home in LA. And then, you know, some opportunities here against like Cincinnati and Baltimore and Atlanta, weeks 11, 12, and 13. 14 against KC is going to be tough. But, you know, I just think he's someone you can, you know, is acquirable, someone that might want to go ahead and, you know, move him if you can put the right package together, maybe get him as kind of like a throw-in piece if you need to kind of even something else out as well. So I still like Dobbins' volume and also most likely his handcuff, which coming into the playoff times here as well too, you kind of want to, you know, be aware of. Kamani Vidal is available in a good amount of leagues still. So if you did trade for him, most likely you can still handcuff him with Vidal to get through, you know, the rest of the season. So, J.K. Dobbins would be my 2. My number 3 was hard. There's a couple guys, you know, I had that I'm not quite sure, but for me, it's Devonta Smith, I would say, is someone that I've had a lot of people questioning me or having him involved in trades. You know, he did have the bad week last week against the Giants for the 1 catch for -2 yards. And we were saying, go buy him, you know, last week. So he comes out now, you know, gets 20.5 points. If you want to try to turn him into something else, you can, because when Goddard comes back, his numbers do drop historically. You'll still probably get a game or 2 here without Goddard, but if and when he does come back, if you can sell him high off this big game, the 85 and a touchdown and 6 catches, again, not someone I'm just looking to get away or get off my roster for any reason, and he's somebody that I'd actually be looking to buy as well too if someone was selling. He kind of goes both ways for me. But if I can, you know, buy low on him, so to speak, or get, you know, nice value, then Devonta Smith is, you know, someone that I'm seeing being moved. So I'd like to get my hands on some Devonta Smith if I can.
Yeah, it's coming around.
Yeah, so
Yo,
those
what's up,
would be
Shannon?
my top 3.
Wanna give
What's
you a
up, man?
look.
So those would be my top 3: Amari Cooper, J.K. Dobbins, and Devonta Smith. I do want to make mention, though, we try not to like talk about guys who are hurt, but my personal preference, I don't mind trading for hurt players. Again, as long as you have the ability to, depending on your record or your depth. But I'm looking at these receivers that we're looking at coming back. And if you're going to get them, you're going to get the best value on them now because they're still going to be out for a few more games. That's, of course, Nico Collins. If you can get your hands on him for anything, less than what his value is for someone who's playing now. For example, if you can turn like Brian Thomas Jr. into a Nico Collins, I would entertain something like that. And then another guy like that is going to be Mike Evans. His playoff schedule when he comes back from the bye week, I think a week 11 bye, so starting week 12 and on, has one of the easiest and best matchups for wide receivers that he faces. So Mike Evans is someone that I'm looking to get now that you can, because once it gets too close, the person's just going to say, well, I might as well just wait for him to come back now, get him now while they're still worried about what they're going to do for the next, 3 or 4 weeks. So, so I'm looking at, guys like that. Zay Flowers, ETN coming off injury, DK Metcalf coming off injury. Those are some guys, I'm looking to still buy low on that might be banged up. You may not have them for a game 2 or 3, but when they come back, should be easy plug and play starts for your lineup. So sorry for the extra little on that, but wanted to give you guys some more names there. All right, so Frank, let's get to your top 3 players to sell high. Who are you selling high on week number 9?
Well, shoot, one of the ones was your buy target, so I'm going to switch up on flex on that one.
Oh, no, tell the other side of the story. We want to hear it.
Well,
these are how
Dobbins,
trades are
man.
made. These are how trades are made.
Yeah, exactly. If I'm selling on J.K. Dobbins, he's coming off a tough schedule here. In the next 6 opponents, has allowed only 4.5 yards per carry or less, and is above average preventing fantasy points to running backs. So Dobbins' fantasy value was saved last week by the touchdown he did get. So I just think he's got a tough schedule coming up. And then there'd be basically more games where he doesn't score coming up, and that basically drops his value. It saved him getting that touchdown. So that's basically my argument against him or selling him, because he is a high sell right now. I think you get good value out of Dobbins. But again, the schedule that's coming up and, being saved by the touchdown, and then you got a rookie like Kamani Vidal breathing down his neck, and Gus Edwards coming back. I think it's a sell high candidate for me.
Did I mention he had 7 targets against New Orleans last week as well, too, in addition to those 17 carries? That's 24 touches for a running back. If you're selling, I'm buying, Frankie.
All right.
Send me an offer.
I don't even have them. So actually, I do have them, but
hey, if we're in the same league, man, shoot me an offer.
I'm just saying the next couple of weeks is rough. Another guy that we were discussing earlier, we already kind of brought him up, was Zay Flowers and Rashad Bateman, which is going to be gone there because, again, just kind of running it down one more time because the trade that happened with Deontay Johnson, the Carolina Panthers coming over here, and again, the Ravens are facing the top 10 defenses shutting down the wide receivers in 3 of the next 4 games with the Denver Broncos, Pittsburgh Steelers, and 2 of the top 3 defenses there. So, also, again, bad matchups for Zay Flowers. So another guy that I'm trying to sell high on while you still can, while there's value there before, stuff really hits the fan and there's just like nothing to be had anymore. And my last guy here that I have for sell is tight end Tucker Kraft. He's literally had I think a touchdown in the last 4 or 5 games of what it is. Something that's just not, sustainable. And it has, rough matchups coming up again over the next 6 weeks. Schedule is not favorable for them. They faced Detroit Lions twice, the Chicago Bears, San Francisco 49ers, and Miami Dolphins, and then they have a bye week. So the Packers got a tough stretch coming up. I'm not so sure that he's going to fare well. So why his value is high, maybe you can get something for Tucker Kraft, albeit a tight end's kind of rough sells anyways, out there.
Nice. So was that 2 or 3?
I give you 3. I remember Zay Flowers, J.K. Dobbins, and Tucker Kraft.
Oh, okay. There you go. That's right. Right. I don't even think I registered Kraft as an additional guy. I forgot you threw Flowers in there because again, I had him as a buy. You have him as a sell. So yeah, we can work something out there.
We give you another one here. We're running back Zach Moss and Cincinnati Bengals.
There it is.
Moss had just 5 rushing touchdowns at 11 yards in week 8. And he couldn't take advantage. Chase Brown's breathing down his neck. He was struggling a bit too, but I think his days are numbered, basically. For 4 consecutive games with single-digit carries, 13 or fewer rushing yards in each of the last 3 games. So he's pretty much done over there in Cincinnati. But the Bengals are going through some tough times as well. Anyways, it's not the offense that it was. So I'd be willing to move away from him as well.
There it is. So you're kind of like you're selling guys before they kind of try to hit rock bottom while they still have some potential value maybe
get something out of these
in
guys,
there. But guys, you're trying to get off your roster. I think my guys here, I'm looking to where these are guys that I have as sells, but not necessarily give them away because I think they're going to do bad. But I just think they're kind of outperforming what their maybe rest of season outlook could be, or based on how and where you got them, in the draft or how you acquired them, you may be able to come up, a lot more based on their current production. So you should explore options on, potentially tearing up from some of these guys, taking advantage of injuries and underproduction value. So, of course, a lot of this is going to be determined based on your standing in the league as well, too. Obviously, if you're in better positions, you're, 5 and 3s, 7 and 2s, 8 and 0s, are going to be a lot more flexible to take on some of this potential risk versus guys who are needing wins now. But those are the people you need to be seeking out with some of these names that I'm going to be giving you because you're trading, production today and tomorrow, so to speak, for production 3 or 4 weeks from now, where that person may not even be in the running anymore. So they're kind of forced to do something now. So with that said, let's talk about my top 3 players to sell high. So the first one here is going to be the guy on the thumbnail. I'll start with that, Deontay Johnson. Like we're saying here, I think when someone gets traded like this, and as we've seen so far with Adams and who else just got traded? Cooper, who I was just talking about. They haven't come out of the gates and really hit high. A lot of that hype, there was trades that were happening when we heard about the trade, go down. But now maybe a week or 2 later, they may not hold the same value that they did kind of at the peak of that opportunity. So I think, if you want to take advantage of Deontay Johnson right now, if you're kind of just, unsure about what he can be and want to turn him into something else, then I would explore, options for him. You're not giving him away. He's obviously going to be attached to a much better quarterback. He's really only, going to have target competition from probably Zay Flowers. Again, none of the other guys are really commanding targets. They're all kind of just spread out there one way or another. And also on the flip side of it, we've seen, Lamar only throw maybe 17, 18 times a game. They may not even need to throw it, as much as well too, based on their running game in some matchups. So just with all that potential risk there, I think there's an opportunity here where you can maybe salvage some of his value, maybe include him with another piece to kind of tear up and get some of those other names, I was mentioning, maybe trade a, Deontay Johnson for one of these hurt guys, maybe put a package together, Johnson and somebody else like it's Bigsby, and maybe you can get yourself a Nico Collins or a Mike Evans or, a DK Metcalf, type player for someone who needs production, kind of right now, someone to start this week. So Deontay Johnson is going to be one of my guys there. Another person is going to be Tank Dell. Obviously, he had Nico Collins downs right now. He has Steph Diggs, who's lost for the season. He hasn't been playing that well himself, but everyone sees what we're all seeing. Like, he's the only guy there, right? And so opportunity is like, oh, that's what you're selling in fantasy football. So I think there's a time now to be able to sell high on him.
Man. He was killing it last year too around this time.
Yeah, but you never know, right? He did still have Collins there playing and things like that. Collins still going to be out for a couple weeks. So if you can take some of this, perceived value, so to speak, which I still think he's going to be fine. He's attached to a good person. And again, he is going to have the opportunities to be the one, in this offense, but is he that type of guy? You talk about his size. These were some of the questions last year, and it would still be the question. But we had Nico Collins, kind of emerge, which is what helped Dell, I think, fit into his type of role. So again, if I can take some of that and turn him into, again, one of these guys that I've mentioned above, I'm looking to do that. If I can turn Tank Dell into Zay Flowers, then I look to do that. If I can turn Tank Dell into Devonta Smith, I would for sure consider something like that. ETN, I would take a chance on him. If you're hurting, kind of at running back, just looking to maybe tear up in some of those places. Another one is, Frank, what my favorite thing to do is what? Pick up somebody off the waiver wire and do what with them?
Trade them.
Sell them.
Trade them up. Trade up.
So Cedric Tillman, man, he's the hot name. He's the hot, target right now. We talked about him on our waiver wire show. He was my number one waiver ad of the week. But what did we talk about on Monday? Proceed with caution. His schedule coming up is brutal. Again, in those week 12s where you have a lot of your other teams on bye, maybe some of your other starters, weeks 12 and 14, guess what? He gets Pittsburgh both week 12 and 14. So, if he's the number one, he's going to be facing, oh gosh, I have to look up his name again. Who is it? Porter Jr. or whoever that is over there in Pittsburgh. But basically, shuts everyone down over there. And so it could be tough. We still haven't seen too much with him and Winston yet. I mean, so far what we've seen has been great. Obviously 2 touchdowns helps, as well too. You like seeing the 12 targets, the game before, but then this next game, we saw Elijah Moore get the 12 targets. What if Elijah Moore would have scored those 2 touchdowns and Tillman didn't have those 2 touchdowns and only 9 targets and 7 catches with the yardage? So again, just something to kind of think about. Again, if you can take that hot person, again, match him with somebody else, Kareem Hunt, a Tank Bigsby, and tear up to someone maybe like, a T Higgins or again, Mike Evans, I'm gonna keep throwing out those same names that I'm targeting. He'd be someone, I'd be looking to trade. Again, I just love picking guys up off the wire and trading them for, top 4 round picks. So,
thank you, Octavian Wicks, man. Tony.
There it is. All right. So those are my top 3, man. Deontay Johnson, nice. Tank Dell, and Cedric Tillman. I do have some honorable mentions here, which of course I'm going to throw at you guys. Roddy, it's been a while. Rashad White, Calvin Ridley, I think might be a big time sell high opportunity coming off his giant game. James Cook, kind of the same thing. His usage has been a little funky. And of course, with the addition of Cooper, could mean, less opportunities and looks for him. Darnell Mooney seems to only play well against Tampa Bay. So, take a look at him. Maybe he might be someone you can move, off his big game. Jamison Williams, I'd be looking to sell maybe for the opposite reason, just, with all his off the field stuff and the guns and the PESs and all this stuff, like, is he really going to be the same guy, when he comes back? Or get those opportunities. Maybe the coaches might be upset and just don't scheme him in stuff and have him be part of the all cardio team to kind of learn the lesson, get him out there blocking and doing stuff like that because they absolutely have other weapons. Maybe this is a good thing for Sam Laporta, who I have as, potential buy candidate as well too. Really like Pitts, Kelsey, Otten, these tight ends that had big games, if you can turn them into running backs or wide receivers and get a piece back with them. If you maybe have another tight end, Tucker Kraft or someone like that you still feel comfortable starting, and Evan Ingram now that Christian Kirk's gone, then you might be able to move some of these names that have come off good games to better your lineup. So these are some of those things you want to explore. So those are my top 3 with a couple honorable mentions.
Nice. I like it.
There we go. So we're getting close here to getting your chat. So again, if you guys have questions, we got answers. Make sure you're dropping your questions there in the chat. We will go through here and spend maybe 5 minutes or so. I'm just going to run through a couple names here, maybe 5 to 10 names, and just ask Frank, is he buying?
We're not doing the buy targets?
Did we? I thought we just did that, didn't we?
Oh, we did buy low targets. I just buy targets and do that. That's all right. Moving on. That's okay.
Oh, yeah, we did buy low, sell high. Like that's the.
Okay.
I mean, do you have some honorable mentions?
I just had more people. I just got Kyron Williams over here with the Rams. I'm be buying him right now. He's a 89% snap share over Blake Corum, 11%. and the Rams offense is back on track. You'd think it would hurt him, but it actually helps him with Cooper Kupp and Puka back. Because it opens up the offense, and they're not just like stacking the run against the box now because they actually have to defend the pass again. So I think it'd be a sneaky buy. I know people would be like worried about him, but I think he's good. And I think we mentioned earlier about Jameson Williams. Now we were going to bring it up again here. We didn't actually talk about. I'm willing to buy. I think he's been doing really well. I think he's had some stupid off field things going on, but that doesn't affect his health and how he's been playing. So I think he's a good guy to be looking at buying as well. Yeah. The other guys
we're set up perfect this week, Frank. The guys you're looking to buy are the ones I'm looking to sell, and vice versa.
Right?
So we should work something out here. I'm telling you.
We should figure something out, right?
Yeah. I was just saying, literally, the whole
what's going to happen. We trade again.
Yeah.
Somebody's going to get an ACL or something.
Hey, sorry, guys. Full disclosure. We should just stop saying names.
That happens.
Yeah, on this point. All right, good stuff.
Halloween right now, tomorrow. Shoot.
The Reaper is out there. Lots of the Reapers out there. All right, good stuff. All right, so let's get to buy, sell, hold, man. Again, like we said, we're just going to run through here some names. Not going to give you full on, takes like we just kind of did for our top threes and honorable mentions, but just letting you know kind of a quick gauge on how we're feeling. Are we buying, selling, or holding these guys? So let's start with the guy we were talking about in Thursday Night Football, Davante Adams. If you had him, are you looking to, or didn't have him, are you looking to buy or sell him? Or if you do have him, are you looking to hold?
I would sell it, man. I'm not too convinced about it. If somebody wants to take him for what he's had the last couple of games, I'm not sold on the fact that he's going to get back to what they were before. As I mentioned, the age, Rodgers doesn't look the same at all. And Davante Adams has been on the decline the last couple of years anyway. So it's like, I think this is the last hurrah for them, personally. You know what I mean? Maybe they get better again next year. But
it's supposed to be rapid fire on these ones.
Sorry,
but no, it's all good. It's all good. It's how we do it, man. I mean, it's hard for us not to just like we have to give you our take.
Explain it.
Exactly, right? It needs the substance behind it. Yeah. Show your work, right? Show your work. We don't want the answer. We got to show the work. All right. So Marvin Harrison Jr., buy, sell, or hold?
I'm holding.
So I'm holding or buying for him. Kareem Hunt, we didn't really mention him too much here, but with Pacheco maybe coming back mid to late November, which might be close to our fantasy playoffs, are you looking to buy, sell, or hold Kareem Hunt?
I think it all depends on your situation, but I would definitely be selling. He'll at best be in a timeshare, right? I mean, that's not good.
Fair enough. Little bit of worry about Pacheco coming back and him not being who he's been these last couple weeks, because he's for sure been 20 plus points, solid, which is why I drafted so much Pacheco and why I'm hurting right now and seeing a guy who came off the couch scoring all these points that Pacheco should have been sitting on my IR.
Like, all right, let's go.
Crazy, man. It's crazy. I told you, right process, terrible result. Anyway, all right. So quick take. For me, I'm kind of the same way. I'm either holding them or I'm trying to sell them to see what I can get, but I'm not just giving them away because I will just write out these weeks and play that game of chicken and see what happens with Pacheco. It was a brutal enough injury to where if Hunt's maybe fine, maybe they don't rush him back and just bring him back closer to the actual playoffs versus your fantasy playoffs. All right, so next one here, we kind of talked about Amari Cooper. Let's talk about the Miami wide receivers, Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle. Buy, sell, or hold Tyreek Hill first?
I'm buying Tyreek. No problem.
I'd buy him too. If you can get him, but his value is probably going to be back to about what it was with Tua back. They look good. Jalen Waddle, I have him as actually a buy as well. I feel like a lot of people are selling, which I feel like I can get a good deal on him. Okay.
I'd be selling. I have him, and I'm telling you, he's one guy that I'm just not convinced he could get back to where he's been. He wasn't doing before when Tua was still there. And you know what I mean? Like he had obviously a rough stretch when he was gone. I just don't think he's getting it back.
I mean, it seems like so long ago now, but week one, Jalen Waddle, 5 catches, 5 targets, 109 yards. I mean, he hasn't scored a touchdown yet this year.
Hasn't done nothing since then.
Well, Tua hasn't done anything since then either. I mean, that's the problem. He just came back this last game. So again, I just think there's a good opportunity. And then again, you can go back to the numbers, all last year. You know, when he was in there with Tua, you know, he's putting up, you know, double digit games. You know, week 15 last year, 8 catches, 142 yards and a touchdown on 9 targets, 28.2 fantasy points. Week 12 against the Jets, 8 for 8 for 114. You know, against New England week 8 last year, 12 targets, 7 catches, 125 yards and a touchdown. I think we forget what the capabilities are in this offense. This is a high powered offense. I want a piece of it. If you can buy low on Waddle, I'm there all day. All right. Again, we're supposed to go quick, but yeah, see, we didn't get to talk about those guys, so we'll accept that one. We got to give a little take.
There's one more to go. Right?
All right. The guy that I actually traded away today, but I actually have him on my buy list. It was Dynasty, so it's a little different. I mean, you know, that just depends on where you're at. It's an orphan team that I'm trying to rebuild a little bit here with. But Chris Olave, obviously, with Shaheed out for the year. Looks like Derek Carr is going to be back this week. You know, him coming off, you know, that concussion. What do you feel about Chris Olave? Are you looking to buy, sell, or hold Chris Olave?
I'd be looking to buy because it looks like Carr's coming back as well. So things are looking better over there for the Saints. And they were rolling earlier in the season. I think they could get back over there again.
Yeah, and with that hodgepodge of Hayner and Spencer Rattler last week against the Chargers, who were pretty tough defense against wide receivers, he did get 14 targets. Again, no Shaheed and no one else really to throw there too. But Means went out. He's hurt too. Juwan's out. Hill was kind of just coming back. So 8 catches, 14 targets, 107 yards.
That's solid.
Didn't find the end zone, but gets Carolina here this week, Atlanta, and then Cleveland. So I'm definitely looking forward to that. And playoff schedule is fantastic. Home against Washington in a dome, at Green Bay might be a little tough, should be a shootout, but we'll never know what the weather's like. And then again in the dome, week 17 against the Raiders. So that should be nice if you make it to the championship. So I'm buying Chris Olave as well too, even though I just sold him today. All right. Let's see. We'll do a couple more here.
Oh yeah, you were going to do a couple more trade, right? You had a trade that you were going to talk about.
Yes, it wasn't a crazy trade. So it's a 10-team dynasty, 1 quarterback, full PPR. Guy was looking to get Olave off of me. I have like Flowers, I have Debo, I have like, you know, some other, you know, decent wide receivers. He offered me his first, which he's in second place now, so it's going to be a late first. So we did a couple counters back and forth. Basically, long story short, the deal ended up being Olave and Najee Harris. That's how you know it's an orphan team, because you know I would have nothing to do with Najee Harris. So I found the opportunity to get rid of Harris here in this deal. So Olave and Najee Harris for JSN, Khalil Shakir, a 25 first, and I think that was it. So yeah, so 25 first, Khalil Shakir, JSN, Jackson Smith, the Jigba for Olave and Najee.
Not a bad deal. That's a good trade.
Nah, I mean, yeah, it's all right. You know, I felt it was all right. It's just sometimes just nice just to get a trade out there, get the league a little antsy. Right? Yeah, sometimes I'll take a little bit of an L.
Get people nervous.
Yeah, and then they might want to take advantage of me, and all I need is an offer, right? That's a bite. I just need someone to think they can take advantage of me and get the negotiation talking and really get a trade that I want. All right, anyway, so we'll move on here.
Anybody here's been trading with Anthony, he'll send you a book as to why it's a good deal.
I don't do all that anymore. That was old Anthony. That was before I had a show.
Yeah.
I don't have time for that anymore. As you know, like I barely send trades out now. Like I might every once in a while if I get in a mood. Otherwise they kind of find me and then I go from there. Once I get a bite, then I'm like, all right, you got my full attention.
Yeah.
All right, so let's just end it there. A couple other guys here. Let's get to the Q&A, man. That's what we're here for. Already over.
Yeah, the guys have been waiting a while.
You guys have been waiting. Let's get to it. We don't have too many tonight, but you know they usually all start rolling in once we start taking them. So we'll scroll back up to the top here. I'm just kind of filibustering here for you, Frank, until you put up the first question and start reading it. So when I see that, I will change the banner to the live Q&A.
Ready?
And let's get to the first question.
Derek here. He's coming up. He says, trade Josh Allen and Monty for Saquon. I have Dak as my backup and Stroud hit waivers this AM. He does come back with his PPR, 2 running back, 2 wide receivers, 1 flex. I'm 5'3". My running backs are Achane, Gibbs, Monty. Wide receivers Garrett Wilson, Higgins, Reed, Deontay, and Shakir. So he's trading Josh Allen and Monty for Saquon.
I mean, it's close. Like when you think about it, Saquon's probably early first round pick. Josh Allen's like a second or third, 2-3 turn if we were drafting today. Monty's probably a second or third round pick at the worst right now. So as far as like if you look at it that way, it's all right. The difference, I mean, don't get me wrong, there's definitely a difference between Monty and Saquon, but like you're not hurting. Like you got Gibbs and Monty and everybody else that he said he has.
Achane, Gibbs, Monty.
Yeah, you got Achane as well too.
Garrett Wilson, Higgins, Reed, Deontay, Shakir.
I mean, I'd like to know. I know you told us it's PPR too and all that good stuff, but I'd like to know if it was 4 or 6 point. Because if it's 4 point, I'm for sure leaning no towards that. I'd rather have Allen and his upside any given week. I think the downgrade from Allen to Dak and CJ Stroud, who's like not even in my top 15 with all his injuries still and losing Diggs and all this stuff. Like that's why Stroud hit the waiver wire. It wasn't just like someone was just like, oh, I'm going to drop, CJ Stroud today.
Yeah,
I'm sticking with Josh Allen. Yeah, and I think Monty's just fine. And you have Gibbs, so that if either one of them go down, like you have probably a guy who's equivalent to Saquon Barkley. Because the only difference between Monty and Gibbs to Barkley is the fact that Barkley doesn't have another Barkley in his backfield that he's splitting with.
If I even had those two guys, I would still even be okay with starting those two running backs, and that's the only two running backs I would probably start.
Exactly,
in
like
all of the NFL.
And they both had their bye week already. Yeah, like you're good. So like I personally am not doing that trade, but like I can see how you would want to. Personally,
I wouldn't do it either.
I would stick with Allen and Monty.
That's a no for me. Sema QB's 38. So he said, "Hey, I was wondering if I should start Tillman over Amari Cooper." So two guys that just recently got one guy got traded. Tillman just got the start over there at the Browns.
Yeah, so you got you got Amari Cooper going up against the Miami Dolphins, and then you have the Browns going up against the Chargers. I still think I'm starting Cooper over Tillman, but I mean it's close. Like they're going to be fairly close this week. You want to hear some more positive stuff going, out of Bill's practice. That Cooper's getting more up to speed and they're going to be really starting to lean on him, but I mean I'm firing
up Tillman, man. Yeah. I think just the upside there is worth it.
Chargers are tough. Yeah,
Chargers are tough. They don't have that good of defense against the pass.
I mean, Chargers, they're 28th in points allowed, giving up only 16.4 points to the wide receiver position so far. So it's,
that's pretty good. Sure, I'll take 16.4 points.
No, not per like total. All the wide receivers combined. Yeah, not per wide receiver. So you have like Devontae Adams only scored 10 points. You did have like Calvin Austin, but he had like, a touchdown or something crazy. Xavier Worthy got one in there. Sutton got one in there. I mean, they haven't played the greatest, but, they held, Marvin Harrison Jr. in check. I mean, a lot of people have, George Pickens didn't do much, 5 for 57. Deontay Johnson had only 3 for 15 yards. Again, Devontae Adams 5 for 59. So it's they're a little good. They're better against the pass than you'd think. I still think I'm going to go with Josh Allen and Cooper, man. So there you go. We're a little split there. All right, go ahead. What's the next one?
Is that my crazy thing and say Tillman over Jaden Reed? We keep coming up with these Tillman questions. So.
Yeah, that one might be a little different because if it's Malik Willis, then I'd probably take my chances with Tillman and Winston versus Malik Willis and Jalen Reed. So that one's not too crazy. So yeah, just keep your eye on the situation with Jordan Love's groin. If we get word that, of course, he's out in Malik Willis, then I don't think you're crazy for thinking it for sure. And I almost would potentially pull the trigger on that as well,
if
too.
Love's out, I'd definitely
if Love's out.
For sure. That's not even that.
Slick. I don't know. I think it's a slick way to say slick.
Yeah. Nice. Should I start Pittman over Calvin Ridley? Also, Pitts and Ingram as a starter. Should I drop Madison for Jordan? Seeing CMC is going to be back next week. So, first question is: should I start Pittman over Calvin Ridley?
Yeah, so we got Pittman now with Flacco, which makes it a little more interesting.
Yeah.
Going to Minnesota to play the Vikings in a potential shootout there, so that could be a good one. And then we have Calvin Ridley, who is one of my sell highs, coming off one of the best games of his career, or at least here in Tennessee, going up against the Patriots. The only problem is he may face who is that over there? Chris Rodriguez, kind of their shadow corner over there, has been playing, been playing pretty well. Where's that the guy off of? Maybe the Washington. I don't know. I'll find the name for the guy in New England. But I know they got a good corner over there, so I might take my chances with Pittman and Flacco here this week in that shootout against Minnesota.
There we go. And should he drop Madison for Jordan?
And then the second part of
He's
that,
going to be back next week, so he's trying to pick up. So he's dropping Madison for Jordan Mason, seeing the CMC is going to be back next week.
I would think you would think that's the other way around, that he's trying to say that. I'm personally holding on to Jordan Mason because we don't know what we're going to see with Christian. Yeah, he could be hurt right away again and be like, nope, he's not ready, and they're going to pull him again. So yeah, personally, I'm not a big Madison fan there in Las Vegas. I know, he got the job and all that kind of stuff. He's been putting up decent numbers, just not like, you have to be okay with losing. And I'm not okay with losing with him, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like, I'd rather go down with somebody else than go down with him, if that makes sense. So yeah.
My Kittle is on a bye week, and I have a possibility to pick up Noah Fant or Ty Conklin. Who should I start?
It's a tough decision because you need to know that here pretty soon. I think Fant was on the injury report a little bit. All right, you're good. You got Fant against the Rams, which I'll put you on mute. We have Fant against the Rams, which should be pretty decent. I'll take myself to full screen here. There we go. So I'd probably go Fant in this situation. I mean, I do have a lot of Conklin and best ball, but Fant has been playing pretty well, and especially if there's no DK Metcalf. I mean, it wasn't great last week. He only had the 3 catches for 22 yards, but has seen pretty much 4 to 6 targets. If he can find the end zone, he's been getting 4 for 4, 6 for 6, in the 60-yard range. I think he can do that against the Rams. Yeah, especially with no DK, I'm going Fant there for sure. So Frank, whenever you're ready, you could bring yourself back to the stream and unmute yourself. No, on the. Are you there?
I can't give. Yeah, I'm here.
All right, I got you. Don't worry, I got you.
I don't know. I was even muted.
I muted you because when you got up, you hit your whole mic and it was just ringing like hell's bells over here. So just quickly on this one, Noah Fant or Conklin.
There we go. Is that better now?
Yeah, you're good.
I can't hear you. So.
Oh no, you were fine. Undo whatever you did because you were fine when you first came in. I just had muted you through StreamYard. Yeah, it's however you had it before.
Right. Is that better? I lost your audio altogether now.
Oh, I can hear you, so we're good.
I can't hear you though.
I don't know if you want to reset it and come back.
I can't hear you at all.
You can come back. But yeah, so I'm going to move on here. Jonathan Russell in here says, I want to know how much you think I messed up if I traded Amon-Ra and Kyle Pitts for Saquon Barkley. If my other receivers are Malik Neighbors and AJ Brown, but my running backs are JK. Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah. No, I can't hear you though. You're like silent.
Then go back because I can hear you. So take yourself out. I'm gonna take you out. Get it fixed. All right. So let's see here. Where were we at? So we had Amon-Ra and Kyle Pitts for Saquon if his other wide receivers are Malik and AJ Brown, but his running backs were JK, Brian Robinson Jr. I don't think it's a bad trade. You still have, at least a stud, at least in AJ Brown in Neighbors, but now I think Amon-Ra's almost a little safer than or Barkley's a little safer than Amon-Ra, so I don't mind churning basically Amon-Ra into Barkley. It only costs you Kyle Pitts, which your replacement value finding another tight end could be a lot better. So I really don't mind this trade at all. So I think it was a decent trade. You kind of sold real high on Kyle Pitts. It's kind of the best game he's had, I think, probably in his career. And you got basically the RB1 overall right now in Barkley for, a top 10, maybe top 8 type wide receiver. So well done in that trade there. We got Kyle back. What's up, Kyle? He says Cooper Kupp or Neighbors rest of season. I think I personally like Kupp a little better than Neighbors, but I know just that abysmal stuff I saw with, Daniel Jones is why I was scared and hesitant from him, the beginning of the year. He looked to kind of play through it, but now that they're lost their tackle and Daniel Jones doesn't have time to throw anymore with Neighbors' depth of target, with his average depth of target is ADOT. It just scares me a little bit. I think Kupp's a little more sure thing. He still doesn't look 100% to me. But if I had to go one way or the other, I'll take Kupp. But if it's a trade, like I need more with Kupp than what you would want with Neighbors. So so hopefully that works out.
All right.
Can you hear me now?
Here. Yeah.
You can hear me? All right, so we're good. All right. So any quick thoughts on that? Kupp or Neighbors on that one?
I agree with you, but I think I would still be taking Neighbors.
I think a lot of people would still probably take Neighbors.
Only because Kupp has to, deal with Puka and so on. And Neighbors has been solid. Even with Daniel Jones throwing at him, so that says a lot. So
cool.
It's just because of that. It's not like it's the best team, but this guy's been putting up the numbers the whole season. So,
for sure.
So Izzy came in here and said, should I start Bears defense against Arizona or start Bills defense knowing Tua's back?
Yeah, that's a tough one, man. I'd probably go Bears against Arizona, but I'm in the same type of situation. The only problem is I have the Bears defense, which I'm like, I'll start them against Arizona. Then I look at my starting lineup and I'm starting Kyler Murray and Trey McBride. So I don't want to really do that. Yeah. So it's just going to cancel each other out. So I'm better off just starting another defense anyway, just to not be going against my own guys. You're literally you can't win. You literally can only lose in that type of situation when your defense is playing against your offense, let alone when you have a stack like that. Because either they're going to go off, which means your defense is going to suck, or your defense is going to do great and hold them. Or the offense is going to go off, your stack will suck, and your defense will suck, so you're in a lose-lose situation. So,
right?
It could be like James Conner and Greg Dortch scoring all the touchdowns, or Marvin Harrison Jr. Well, I wouldn't mind that because I have that stack in several other places, but you know what I mean. All right, so we'll move on here. Victor, go ahead.
Victor Blanco got offered Jamar Chase for CMC and Jay Reed. Do I accept?
I would counter just CMC for Jamar Chase. I wouldn't give Reed with it as well, too. CMC, if he comes back and is that guy again, should be worth Chase, or I would counter with a receiver that's not as good as Reed. Do you completely pull the trigger? I don't know. Because Higgins is still playing well when he's been there, and they seem to only play well when Higgins is there right now, when he could take some of that coverage off of Chase and Burrow's just thrown to Higgins. So, I love Chase and everything, but I think that's just a little much. But at the same time, you're not guaranteed CMC even comes back. So it might just be Jaden Reed for Chase, in which case you would take that 1 million times out of 1 million. So I might just go ahead and pull the trigger on that one. But it's tough. I mean, it really is tough. Where are you at, Frank?
I'd take the Jamar Chase.
All right.
I'd take the sure thing. That dude's been falling out now. We don't know what we're going to get with CMC.
For sure. And again, we don't know how long Love might be out. It might be 2-3 weeks. So yeah. Go ahead.
So we got Luis 29 saying need for helpful PPR start London or Puka, also Mahomes or Love. Thanks. From London or Puka, I'm going to go with Puka. And then Mahomes or Love, depending on if Love is injured or not, I would start Love. If not, obviously Love being injured, you got to go with Mahomes.
Yeah, so for sure, Mahomes, or even if not, even if Love is active, I'm still going to go Mahomes. Just with the groin injury, it could be re-aggravated, and that might be the worst thing. He goes out, plays maybe, the first series, and then he's just like, I can't go, and he's sitting on the sideline again, and it's the Malik Willis show. That could be the worst situation. So I would just go with the guy who's, healthy coming in. It is still Mahomes. So I'd go Mahomes there for sure. And how could you sit Puka, over London after what we just saw him do on Thursday? They do get Seattle, they're Tariq Woolen's, pretty good, but, Puka moves all around in the formation, and that guy just makes good catches. He's just good at football. It seems like, he just passes the eye test, man.
He's a baller.
Yeah. And I mean, London, he's hit or miss. He's been pretty consistent. But I think I'd have to go with Puka after what I just saw. Like, I couldn't bench him for London. Like, London hasn't been just completely killing it to where you're like, oh, I have to have this guy in my lineup. So
we're shooting for the upside of Puka and injury on Love or Mahomes. You're starting Love over Mahomes, but Mahomes if he's obviously Love's hurt, right?
Exactly.
Let's go on with Junior Meadows. A ton of my players are on bye week this week, so I start Judy, Leggett, and Keenan Allen as my flex. So Judy, Leggett, or Keenan Allen. Oh, Keenan Allen.
It's so tough, man. I might take my chances with Judy. Like, I think he got like 8 targets at least. Allen, I think, led the Bears in targets last week, but yeah, didn't do much, and it was a good matchup against Washington coming off a bye week. He only had 2 catches, 39 yards on 7 targets, did play 97% of the snaps, which was the most so far this season. They get Arizona. I don't know, man. That's tough. But I think I might take my chance with Judy there. Man, that's a tough one. Which way are you leaning?
Allen. Yeah, I like Allen.
Allen? All right. Yeah, and then Judy against the Chargers. I think I'm going to go Judy, man.
You were just talking up the Chargers' pass defense.
Yeah, but that's more Tillman. You know what I mean? Like, I think they might roll coverage to Tillman. I mean, Judy saw 8 targets last week, 5 catches, 79 yards, 12.9 fantasy points against Baltimore. I mean, I just think he has a little better floor than Keenan Allen, given the new situation there. So I'll go Judy.
So we got 3P, 1C fail. Let's sure that means something. Superflex, Flacco or Winston, rest of the season. Would you start Flacco over Stroud? And he says it's a half-point PPR and need to sit one. Tank Dell, Waddle, Jason, or Tillman. So let's tackle the first one here. Superflex. Flacco or Winston, rest of the season.
So I like Flacco's schedule. Yeah, I like his schedule a little more. I think he has a little better positional players besides the tight end position. And yeah, I just think the schedule's a lot better. I'm just going to double check it here. So yeah, they get at Minnesota this week, like we talked about, home against Buffalo, at the Jets, home against Detroit, at New England, week 14 bye. Playoff schedule is a little tougher, at Denver, home against Tennessee, but then week 17 against the Giants. So yeah, I mean, I like that over the Pittsburgh, Kansas City. That whole matchup for the Browns, man. They have a tough schedule there. So yeah.
And
so,
also, we
right,
just
so what
start
was the
Flacco
second
over
part?
Stroud, and then this, right
This
now,
week. Yeah, I'm
just
starting
because
Flacco
of the
over
injuries
Stroud
that
this week.
Houston has, and all the wide receivers that are down, Flacco over Stroud for sure. So let's go to the second part of your question. Half point PPR, need to sit one. Tank Dell, Waddle, or JSN, or Tillman.
I'm
Sit
surprised
one.
that
Well,
Indy
Tank Dell's
Minnesota
going to
game
get
with
all the
Flacco's only
shots
at 46 and a half.
from
Yeah.
Stroud. Waddle, as Anthony is saying, he's going to be coming back here with Tua. JSN has, I think he's peak touches the other day, like looks and everything.
It was like
Um,
because DK actually missed a game. If DK plays, and then it's an easy Jason sit for me. Otherwise, I may sit Tillman, but I think I'm still sitting Jason out of these four. I'd ride that hot hand with Tillman in this one.
They're playing the Rams next, so that's a division game, right? Seahawks and Rams.
Yep, should be a shootout.
There you go.
All right. I think we
Froggy
missed
man.
one up here. Hold on, I'm going to grit to this one here real quick before I forget. Jacob said, "Would you trade?" Oh no, did we just talk about that while we were talking? I think that's why
We talked about that one. That's why I didn't
Good
highlight
stuff.
it.
See, we just want to make sure we get all your questions, guys.
No worries.
I don't want to miss that.
So we got Froggy Man, Cup or Njoku for Gibbs and Evan Ingram. Oh, so it's a nice trade here. Cup and Njoku for Gibbs and Evan Ingram. I would do it. I'd take the Gibbs and Evan Ingram side.
Yeah, I'll take Gibbs and Ingram all day there. For sure.
So that's what you can get. Go get that. If you're on the other side, don't do it.
Yeah, don't do it.
Gavin Meister, rate my team. A 12-man league. Baker, Dak at QB, Mixon and Swift at running back, AJ Brown, Puka, our wide receiver, and Bowers at tight end, Amari Cooper at flex, benches Tyrone Tracy, Tillman, Watson, Douglas, and Thielen.
All right, so just get rid of Thielen first and foremost. Otherwise, I like your bench a lot. Baker was great, a great spot right now, but could be dying off here. He might be a nice combo there with Dak. My boy Frank here thinks and feels, not only because he's a Cowboys fan, but does have a really good schedule here down the stretch. So I don't think that's a bad combo, and you could definitely ride Dak out until Evans comes back and sees, how that goes. I'm sure anyone who started Baker this last week thought it was great to get those 2 touchdowns and stuff from him. Not bad at all. If they were in a tough spot. Mixon's like I said, the QB1 overall or RB1 overall right now in fantasy points per game. Swift has been playing pretty well here these last 4 games, so don't mind him as your RB2. With Tillman, kind of behind him. I'd want one more running back here. So if you can get rid of Thielen and
pick Tyrone Tracy behind him, wouldn't it?
Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, so he has, Tyrone Tracy protocol in there, but I still want one more running back behind Tracy is what I meant. So if I can trade off Thielen or drop Thielen for Braylon Allen and Tyler Algier, one of these guys.
One of the handcuff guys.
One of these handcuff type guys.
Readily available.
Yeah.
Or you could trade Tillman that you just picked up and people buy him high and get yourself a decent running back. But you don't have to trade so far away that way. Douglas is also on the way down now with Drake May situation thing too. So he had a good.
We still haven't really seen Douglas and May play a full game since that last good game that they had together. Because remember, Douglas was sick in the London game.
That's my whole point.
And then Drake May didn't even finish.
No, Drake May's hurt again, right?
But they could come back. So he's worth a stash for me. He's not relying on
stash.
Him Thielen, I think, is useless. You don't want any part of that offense. That's why Deontay Johnson got the hell out of there. So I want to pick up one of those running back handcuffs.
So what do you rate it overall? Give it a grade.
Overall, I think it's a solid
B.
Go
to good B. Yeah, I'm good.
Yeah, I'm in a solid B with that team.
Cool.
What do you think his record is? What do you think his record is with that team?
He's 5-3.
With Baker, yeah, I was gonna say I want to say at least 5-3, 4-4, if not better. Yeah,
5-3. I'll give him the upside one. Augusto,
Augusto K.
All right, Augusto K.
Kestashian. Yeah, that's good.
Running backs: Hall, Kamara, Chase Brown, Dobbins, Hunt, Chubb. Wide receivers are London, Neighbors, Ridley, Deontay Johnson, Jennings, tight end of Bowers. Hawkinson, would you do Deontay for Hunt? Deontay and Hunt for Reed.
Yep.
He's trying to get Jaden Reed for Deontay Johnson and Hunt.
Yep.
Ooh, I don't know. Gotta give it something, I guess, though, right? Because he'll still end up with Kamara.
Yeah, he says Kamara in Hall.
Dobbins is going to be doing all right.
And Chase Brown, like he has those 4 guys right there. Like Chubb and Hunt are literally just throwaway pieces. So if you can turn those into, you definitely need to better your wide receivers, because after London and Neighbors, it gets a little sketchy, and even London and Neighbors is a little sketchy.
Yeah.
So yeah, I wouldn't mind. Honestly, I wouldn't even mind maybe going Ridley, Deontay, and like Hunter Chubb, and like really try to make a splash and go grab. I would go seek out like Marvin Harrison Jr. Like I would just take a swing like that on, some of those guys. Maybe you can go get DK Metcalf. Might be a nice piece for this team. I would for sure try to go get Mike Evans on this team. If you can, trade Ridley for like Mike Evans straight up right now and sell him high after that big game, and then still do this trade so you can get Reed and Mike Evans on this team, along with London Neighbors, and then just not have Ridley, Deontay, and then you still got Jennings kind of hanging out there. I would really like that. So yeah, a lot of those guys we were talking about, Zay Flowers, Mike Evans, if you can go get Nico Collins, might be great. I would literally give Hunt, Ridley, and Deontay Johnson for Nico Collins right now.
Right.
For sure. Go make that happen.
That much, but I think Deontay Johnson and Hunt for Collins would be nice.
Yeah.
Cal Strobler says someone sent me Neighbors for Cup. Do I accept?
Neighbors for Cup.
So
you would.
Neighbors. He's giving away Cup.
You would, right? Because I think he asked the question before. He just asked which side, and then now he's saying he got sent the offer. So if you have Cup
Neighbors,
and that offer came in for Neighbors, are you taking that risk?
Yeah, I think I would.
Yeah, I think you would, and I think I'd probably say. And I know everyone's going to kill me for it. I know Tycoon, he's a big Neighbors. I don't trust Daniel Jones. Like, he looked good there for a while. But, like, again, since they lost their tackle, man, they just haven't been the same. And
he's going to be pressured.
Yeah, I don't know. It's a little tough. Plus, they have Tyrone Tracy now running the ball really well, whereas before they didn't really have a run game, so much with Singletary. It's going to limit some of the potential touches there. And teams are just going to load up on Neighbors, and I don't think Daniel Jones is going to throw into that coverage. So, yeah, man. Yeah. I don't know. I think I'd keep Kupp and Stafford, man. I like that combo. It's tough for me. It's real close, though. I mean, it's real close.
All right, so we got Hugo Roman in here. I just sold Hall for Nico. Not sure about it.
Straight up, I don't know if I like that. If you're trading away Hall, you better have like some great depth behind that. I mean, I don't like trying to go get Nico like we talked about, but like you're giving up a piece that's almost untradeable at this point.
Yeah, you're giving up a really good piece to get Nico, who
a guy coming off a
Don't
hammy.
get me wrong. Don't get us wrong, but I think he's still another week out, right?
Yeah, I don't think I'm sure about it either. Like, just hope Nico comes back and he's the guy. But like, I still think he has 2 more weeks, so I think you might have done it real early. And the fact that you didn't get, it wasn't like a 2-for-1, and like you didn't get another piece with it, or at least another running back. Like, had you gotten like an ETN and Nico for Breece Hall, like I'd want something like that this early, like from him returning. So hopefully you're like 7-1, 8-0, maybe 5-3 at worst. And depending on what the rest of your team is, maybe he has it down here. I haven't looked, but yeah, it's a little tough for me. But yeah. Oh, we got the fantasy boardroom in the house.
Yeah.
Tycoon. What up, Tycoon? Hopefully he's still watching here.
He's answering questions even in the chat.
Oh,
so we
cool.
got GZ here talking about 12-team PPR, IDP League, Dynasty. Straight up everything that you like got to have in here.
Let's go. Love it.
Jalen Polk and Houston cornerback Kamari Lassiter for Bucky Irving.
GZ, I don't do IDP that much, man. I think I'm in like 2 or 3 IDP leagues, and I still don't know how to trade defensive guys for offensive guys because it just depends on what their scoring abilities are. Right? So I'm going to look at this more from the offensive perspective, and if I can churn Jalen Polk into Bucky Irving, and it's only costing me some random cornerback. I mean, unless this is like the cornerback like one or two. Yeah, in fantasy, like I'll take my chances on Bucky Irving, especially you as a Tampa fan.
Amari Laddershiter, he's probably not the number one anyways, because we know who the cornerback is for number one. You know what I mean? Like, right? We know some of the top guys.
He's not Sauce. He's not Ladarius Sneed. He's not.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe he's somebody we should know. I mean, I've heard Kamari Lester, of course, but yeah, I don't think he's talked up there.
That's okay.
Like crazy. But yeah, I actually play in some IDP leagues. So
I tried to start it a while back, years back. Remember that?
Yeah. It used to be part of it. Yeah, we got rid of it real fast.
Yeah, it just didn't stick for us here.
Yeah. But yeah, so I'm going Bucky Irving.
Yeah, I am also 12 Bucky Irving, so I'll go for 12 teams, Superflex PPR Dynasty, Ray Davis and Ricky Pearsall for Homo Winston, Taysom Hill, and Roshan Johnson.
Little typo there, Jeezy, as he's driving. Little Hamo Winston in there. Yeah, I'm taking the Ray Davis and Ricky Pearsall side. Yeah, I just think J-Mo's obviously too older right now. Taysom's old. Roshan Johnson's barely even playable. So I'm for sure taking the Ray Davis and Ricky Pearsall side. At least there's some younger guys and there's potential, with the dynasties. So I'll take the Davis and Ricky Pearsall side. So
I agree. Yeah. Does Perry W? What's up, Perry?
What's up, Perry?
In a minute. Is Mason droppable for Pittman?
Jordan Mason is not droppable in my opinion. Not until we see what's going on with CMC. And if you are thinking to drop him, just go trade him to the CMC owner now.
Yeah.
Like if you've been holding off this long, just say, hey, look, he's about to be back. Obviously, I'm losing some value. Mason and somebody for somebody else, do 2 for 1, and then you can get Pittman and whoever you traded for. Boom.
Exactly.
There you go, Perry.
Jason Ortiz. Would you trade Stevenson or Amari Cooper and one of Waddle, Robinson, Jennings, or Jalen McMillan for Brees and Deontay? So he's trying to get Brees and Deontay. He's giving away Stevenson and Amari Cooper and one of Waddle,
Stevenson or Amari,
Wandale Robinson, Jennings, or Jalen McMillan.
So what I would do is I would say keep Deontay Johnson because I want no part of Deontay Johnson. And I would rather keep Cooper, so I would focus just on Brees. If you can get Brees for Stevenson and one of those guys, Wandale, Jennings, or Jalen McMillan, I don't care which one, all 3, 2 of the 3, like I'll trade all 4 of those guys just for Brees. Like if that helps you. So whatever combination you can work on that. Yeah, like I don't want to deal with the Deontay headache. I'd much rather have Cooper. So if you have the option of Stevenson or Amari, and it's just one of those other guys or all 3, like if you can come out of this trade with Brees and Amari Cooper, and he has Steven, and you lose Stevenson and 1 or 2 of any of those other receivers not named Cooper, then that's the deal I want to do, Jason.
There you go. I agree.
Yeah.
Dobbins for Reed. Okay.
That's a decent trade. That's a decent trade because there's some risk. Yeah, there's some risk on both sides and then some upside on both sides. So I don't mind that trade at all. I think it might actually work for both teams, Yeah.
And I like that. It's a running back, wide receiver situation. I don't like the wide receivers and all that. That's good. Wicked Pompeo here. Pampano. How do you all rate Waddle? Just bought him for cheap in a full PPR dynasty.
Well, what's up, Wicked?
All about him.
Yeah, I'm still a fan. I still think he has potential there with Tua coming back. It's been out of sight, out of mind. We haven't seen it for a while. It's just like when guys go on bye week, like we were literally forgetting, players were even existing. Remember that a couple weeks ago? On week 5, we're like, oh man, this guy, who is that guy again? Haven't played in a while. But when they come back, we realize, oh yeah, this is why they're good at fantasy. So, one of the fastest guys in the league, one of the top scoring, potential offenses, coming into this year. That's why Tyreek Hill was drafted as the wide receiver 1. That's why Waddle was going in round 2 or 3, depending on your leagues. And so let alone in Dynasty, he's still pretty young and attached to Tua. Again, obviously there's the injury risk, but like we say it every day, anyone can get hurt. Doesn't matter your age or your history of getting hurt. Any play could be your last play in football. So I try not to deal in that too much. I just think when things are going right in that offense, Waddle's a big part of it. And, you're going to have your ups and downs. He's not a bona fide wide receiver 1. But, as a wide receiver 2 or high end 3, again, if you got him for cheap, then, I like the upside. So well done, Wicked.
Yeah. Here's the Smitty. Can't be our Smitty, is it?
Nah, I don't think so.
Nah. Should I
You don't
drop
watch
Mason?
us. You just text us shit in our chat. Just
Yeah.
text us directly. You ain't gonna watch on here.
Yeah. So,
he knows more. He thinks he knows more than us about fantasy anyway, because he's like, I'm the one beating these two anyway. Like, why do I need to listen to them? I'm the one beating them.
He's funny though.
Love Smitty, man. Love the Smitty too. So go ahead. Mason for Grando? Nah.
Should I drop Mason for Grando?
I'm not yet, man.
No. And we'll get to the second one. Start one, Ramonde or Chase Brown.
Give me Chase Brown.
Yeah, Chase Brown should be starting over there in Cincinnati now going forward. I just traded Wando Robinson for Jawan Jennings.
Oh, nice. Just some bench fodder trading. I don't mind these trades either. They don't always have to be blockbusters, 3-for-1s. Just a little switch of bench there. I like it. You're getting attached to a much better quarterback, and obviously he's hurt right now. Maybe out one more game dealing with that hip injury, as in Jawan Jennings. But we've seen what happened with no Debo and no Ayuk on the field. Him and Purdy have a nice connection. Remember, Purdy was throwing to Jawan Jennings a lot before he became the actual starter a couple years ago. So it's really no surprise, and I should have known better earlier in the year that they have some chemistry. And we've seen Jennings is capable of rising to the occasion. So I like that. And again, you're getting away from Daniel Jones.
I'm holding on to him myself right now. Check this guy out.
For sure.
This is traded flowers for Monty. You're raping somebody with that one.
Let's go. I feel like it's a decent trade both ways, but yeah, I'll definitely take the Monty side. Running backs are a little more scarce these days that you feel comfortable throwing in your lineups over, decent wide receiver too. So yeah, I think that's a good trade both ways. Tycoon says we got 11 watching, only 7 likes. Like, let's hit that like button, guys. We're sitting here doing Q&A. We have over 32 people watching right now, or I think 32, not over, exactly 32 from what I see at the moment. At least, can we get at least like 10, 15 likes on this, guys? Let's go hit that like button for us.
Yeah, right.
All right, what else we got?
We got.
We're getting close to the end here, huh?
Yeah, we're going to close to the end here. Oh, right. Do you guys think Deontay to the Ravens? What do you guys think about it? So you got to watch the rest of the show. We've kind of covered over that many times.
Oh yeah, we had a whole segment on Deontay earlier, but quickly, just a quick take on it was we're worried about Bateman. Al Galore's pretty much done. Could be a little bit of a hit to Flowers. Should really be a boost to Lamar, and might hurt Andrews and the other tight end, likely, and that other guy a smidge. That's in a nutshell. I think we pretty much agree with that.
That's what's up, Smitty. I already hit that like.
Appreciate you, Smitty.
He was just kind of commenting. Do you think CMC comes back after the bye? I personally think he comes back after the week after Seattle at home.
Yeah. No, they said they're eyeing week 10. Again, doesn't mean that he won't come back. So they're going to see how he does. He's going through simulated practices this week, which I don't know exactly what that is. Doesn't mean just like he's the only one practicing with nobody else around, or like what's going on there. They're kind of ramping him up. Hopefully they just stretch him out good, because I just don't want some kind of like hamstring or calf strain or something in addition to everything else he's already dealing with in the lower legs. So let's just make sure he's stretched out real good, get that trainer in there. And as long as he responds well to that workout, isn't sore, then I think week 10 he can come back, but I don't think he's walking back to 27 touches. He might get like 10 carries and maybe like 4 catches at like the most. So I'd like to still see Mason and Garindo be worked in as they just kind of work CMC in as well. And then don't run him in between the tackles. Just, maybe some outside pitches, stuff like that, and put him in some routes. Line him up as a scat back, put him in motion, do some of that kind of stuff. So, yeah.
So, do you prefer Deontay for Hunt or Reed or Dobbins?
If we're going to see him, I think it'll be 10, though.
It's week 10, man. So, you prefer Deontay for Hunt?
Do we prefer Deontay and Hunt for Reed or Dobbins Reed? I like getting rid of Deontay.
I like the first part. Deontay for Hunt.
Can't give Deontay and Dobbins for Reed. I'd rather hold on to Hunt at least for these next couple weeks, or you might be able to trade him to somebody else over these next couple weeks. If I can do Deontay and Dobbins for Reed, that's what I do. But that's why they call me the dentist.
That's what you should be doing. Deontay Dobbins for Reed. I agree.
There you go.
And he was last one here. He was
Oops.
was I wrong in dropping Javonte Williams? LOL.
Not at all. He's on my do not touch list. I picked him up finally. You guys know all the shit I've been talking on Javonte Williams. Had him as sell all the time. Do not draft list. He's on our waiver wire. I'm hurting at running back. He has Carolina. All the analysts, including myself, talking him up. I go pick him up, play him against Carolina, who you, me, Phil, Tycoon, Classic Mike, we could probably get, 80 and a touchdown against Carolina defense. And this guy does nothing. And the team goes off. Like Denver goes off and Javonte Williams does nothing. So he's officially on my do not touch list. For official.
We're going to round it up here. Last couple questions here. I'm tired of here as well. So hit the like too. Do you think A-Rich is droppable now in Superflex? Not sure if we will see the field again, barring injury, unless Flacco massively underperforms.
Not in Superflex. You kind of got to hold him.
Superflex. No, not in Superflex.
One QB, he's droppable. One QB.
Yeah, exactly. But if Superflex something happens, or like you're saying, Flacco just shits the bed, then it's like he's back on. Need an unbiased opinion here. Had a trade get vetoed because of unfairness. Received Bigsby, Flowers, and Tracy. Gave away CMC. Gave away to CMC owner Waddle, Chase Brown, and Mason. Seems like it was a fair trade. Thoughts? This is Bigsby, Flowers, and Tracy. For Waddle, Chase Brown, and Mason.
All right. So first and foremost, CJ Churchy, this trade is nowhere near voidable at all.
Yeah, that's like fair.
Literally, there's no one in this trade that I would even think is like on the radar of being like, oh, you traded this person? Like, there's no Jamar Chase in this. There's no, Gibbs. There's no Saquon Barkley involved in this. Like, the best player in this deal is Flowers? Maybe
Bigsby,
Chase Brown.
Take Bigsby's
he's not even the best. He's not even the best running back on his own team.
On his own team, that's true. I knew you were going to say that. Not even the best.
Fully healthy.
Chase Brown is just getting the opportunities. So, Mason's been doing well, but you go into the CMC owner.
Like maybe
this is
Waddle,
a perfectly great tell. Wherever you're, come join our leagues, dude. Seriously.
Yeah, just come be part of the Get Right Man community.
A long time ago, unless it's clear and egregious, there should be no
unless there's collusion
complaint. Yeah, or collusion, you know what I mean?
Or completely offsets the power of the league. And even then, sometimes it's crazy.
Yeah, even then, you got to
go. You still got to just let people make their mistakes sometimes and learn.
Anymore. That's just dumb.
Yeah. I will pretty much not veto anything.
Everybody's
if anything, I'll let it stay and then just kick the person out of the league. Yeah. You're not playing with us anymore.
Yeah.
Please yourselves.
This is a 10-man PPR. This is a new guy, I think here. 10 PPR thoughts on trading.
Hit that like and subscribe button.
Away Ridley, Stroud, Chubb for Hurts, Jawan Jennings, and my running back depth is good without him. Etienne, Achan, Gibbs, Walker, Tracy, and Irving. Yeah, you got to get deep bench there.
Yeah, I don't mind the Chubb and Stroud.
Thoughts on trading away Ridley, Stroud, Chubb for Hurts, and Jawan Jennings.
I'd probably do that trade. I mean, it feels like you're giving up a little much. Like Jennings isn't great. Like I know I was just kind of talking him up, and I mean, you see the logo on the hat, but
Ridley's okay. Chubb's just got back.
Yeah,
Stroud is on the downside right now. You're getting the upside in Hurts, and Jawan Jennings will come back next week. I'd do it.
Buying and selling quarterbacks are hard, man, because I just feel like the value is I understand the value hurts, but he's not killing it like he was, when he was top 3. Like, he's playing a little better now. Obviously, had A.J. Brown and Devonta Smith hurt for those, 2 or 3 games. So, I don't hate this trade. I just feel like for all that, you might be able to get a little more. The potential of Chubb with his name value, and then the game Ridley just came off of, and CJ Stroud with his initial draft capital. I just think you get somebody maybe better than Jennings, with Hurts. I would like to know who else he has. Maybe like 1 or 2 notches, better of a wide receiver.
Just a little up
Yeah.
on that.
And then that might even it out a little bit.
I can't believe to express how outrageous it is that the trade was vetoed at CJ Shershey.
Completely agree.
And the Smitties though said, yeah, that trade was fine. LOL. It is.
Absolutely ridiculous.
I said, even Tycoons, I can't even see a side that they think such as this is a clear winner that they had to veto. Yeah,
that's what I mean.
There's just haters in your league. I'm not sure what's going on in your league, but it's just crazy.
I think if you have vetoes on, if anybody hits the veto button, they should have to make you an offer better than the offer that you were getting. They should have to offer their own players that are better than the offer as to why they wanted it vetoed. So if they want who you were trading away or vice versa, they should have to put their own players up like for auction. And the people in the trade should be able to decide to accept one of the other trades. Either they let that trade go through or they need to force a trade with somebody else. Just basically don't turn on vetoes for the league. People just do it.
Okay, so that's a great idea, Rasta. So on that note, we'll call it a night. At least I am. Are you ready? 2 hours into this thing, I'm tired.
Yeah, that's right, man. I was excited, man. We're talking trades and stuff.
Yeah,
man, it's like, whew. But yeah, I can't even believe we're hitting 2 hours now. But good stuff, for sure. So yeah, we appreciate it, man. Thank you. Hopefully you guys are hitting that like and subscribe button for us. We will be back here on Friday with 2 shows, doing our start sit. We have the early show for you East Coasters. And then we have our later show for the West Coasters, 6 p.m. Pacific and 8 p.m. Pacific. So make sure you guys come check it out there. Tycoon, you caught a little bit of it tonight. So appreciate that, man. We went a little long, but got to get the questions in here. Usually for the trade show, that's how it goes. We got Bullseye asking one last question real quick. Pick 2 RBs for week 9. Chase Brown, Tyrone Tracy, Rashad White. Tyrone's
Chase
probably
Brown,
not going to play in that concussion protocol.
White.
So it's going to be Chase Brown and White for me. But come back on Friday, little teaser, and we'll find out, and we'll go from there.
Definitely double check that. But I don't need.
So let's.
Tyrone Tracy's concussion protocol. It's too short of a week. You won't get out of it. Right?
Yeah, I agree. All right, so that should do it, guys. Again, hit that like and subscribe button for us. Again, that live Q&A segment was brought to you by our boys over at trophysmack.com. So make sure you guys go check them out. The links are in the description. You can get yourselves customized chains, rings, belts. You got it. And as well as just standard trophies and stuff like that. Again, help us get to 2,000 subscribers so we can give away another one of these rings right here, just with 2,000 subscribers on there, man. So help us get there. We're getting close, coming up on 1.4 thousand. So again, we appreciate all the support. Again, keep liking, keep telling your friends about us, keep bringing them here to the Get Right Fantasy Network community. Again, join us on Sleeper. We have all of our contact info down in the description. If you want to talk to us when we're not live, you can always DM us your start sit questions, your trade questions, and we can even go into it a little more detail than what we can do here on the show. So other than that, man, we appreciate you guys. Smitty saying it's a good show. So again, we'll be back here with you guys on Friday. So other than that, Frank, you got anything else? You ready to ride this ship out?
It's time to go, man. I'm tired.
Let's do
Have
it.
a good night,
And
guys. Good
show
tonight. We went over a lot of stuff. It was good stuff, man. But
it was a good show.
Yeah, everything's got to come to end, man. 2 hours in, I'm tired. Sorry, guys.
Let's do it. All right, man. We'll be back here with you guys on Friday. Again, we can roll those sleeves down now. We'll roll them back up on Friday. Peace out.
Wanted to write fantasy is the play. Marking nothing, but I tune in every Friday. Strategies provided.